Hello everybody, so this is Madeline again, Messages from Venus. So this is another video that I'm bringing to you guys, and this specific video, I hope that my battery doesn't die. I have 21%, but I have to make these videos because I haven't been on here in a very long time, and it's something that I wanted to explain. So this is in regards to being a parent. Always being a parent, whether you are not a physical parent or not, doesn't mean that you're not a parent. If you in the future tell yourself, if you tell yourself now that in the future you want to have kids, you have to start planning for that now. And you have to, according to me, and according to my studies, according to my environment, and according to the things that I see in regards to poverty, and how poverty is not just like a physical poverty, or like some people are poor because they don't have any money. Some people are poor spiritually, physically, mentally. You know, you don't want to bring a child into this world being poor in every sense of the word. Doesn't matter whether it's money or not. You want them to be able to succeed within and outside of the matrix, and also understand that when you are procreating and you're procreating a child, within, number one, the era of where you are. So right now we're in the interim of and we're about to go into the age of Aquarius, right? We're about to go into the age of Aquarius. So you have to see, like, if you're spiritually in tune, you have to see what's going on in the ethers, what's going on in astrology. Where are we, and what era are we at this very moment in time, so that you understand what type of child to expect, number one. Number two, understand that some of your children can be your ancestors, having their story or rewriting their story through you, and so they live through you. Your spirits, when you get baptized with certain entities or certain spirits, they are rewriting their story through you. They're accumulating energy through you by helping you, so that when they reincarnate, they can reincarnate into a prosperous physical, mental, and spiritual well-being in this planet. If you know that you are in this day and age, and that a lot of the Christ-like children are coming into this world, you might be you're it. One of these kids might be your children, and then what? If you don't have a foundation, don't have kids just to have kids. Don't have kids because, oh, this is tradition to have kids, okay? No. If you cannot afford to have a child and you can't take care of yourself, don't have children. If you cannot afford to pick up a book and read to your child and give them that stability that they need, don't have children. If you're having children just to lock a man down, don't have children. Especially, I see it in the Black and Hispanic community a lot. I'm talking to my people. Don't try to lock a man down, because there's, like, number one, there's a million other men out there. That's number one. Number two, you're locking yourself down, because then you make yourself unable to provide for your child, and you lock your child into contracts within the matrix. Or you procreate a child with low frequency, and you don't want to do that. If you want to help the planet and you're like, you know what, I don't have money to donate to anybody, excuse me, but you're about to procreate, you're about to make money, that is a way to helping the planet. And where you're not creating a child without purpose, you're not procreating a child without divine purpose or divine meaning. Not everybody has divine purpose and divine meaning. Some people just get procreated and their energies get snatched from certain areas of the ethers of the universe, you know, as above so below. So the parents doing as below take the energy or the sexual energy from the action of sex or the act of sex. The energy goes up, the energy then must come down, and then you get pregnant, physically pregnant, but you're spiritually pregnant before you get physically pregnant. If you study the science of sex and tantras, you would understand that, or you will understand that, or you should at least understand that. Don't just want a kid just to have a kid. No, make sure that you have a home to be able to provide for that child. Make sure that you can give them, while they're there, the education, you know, while you're thinking of them, education, spiritual well-being, and also knowledge. Knowledge is key. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, you know, not all of us, you know, have a lot of money And some of us are like really, really poor, so we're not supposed to have kids. If I were you, I would make the choice not to have children. I have that mindset, because you're being selfish. You're making yourself fit into a society and a community, but in reality you're harming the world, because not only is it one more mouth to feed for your pockets, but you're also creating or procreating entities or individuals in this planet that might be put in other people's paths that don't need to be there. And so now you fucked up somebody else's frequency, you fucked up somebody else's purpose, you fucked up somebody else's path. That's not okay. It's not okay. Or you allow other entities to use you and your selfishness to procreate entities to come into the planet and then fuck up somebody else's purpose or somebody else's rhythm of life, and that's not fair. Some of you guys are gonna be like, Madeline, like, why are you thinking in such a disgusting manner? It's not disgusting, it's reality. It's facts. It's facts of the fucking matter. Even when people say, oh well, Madeline, what about other people in our countries that aren't, quote unquote civilized? They're making the same mistake of procreating without having anything to provide for their children. And meaning, whatever the wealth is to them, let's say that their wealth is cows. Let's say you're in my country. No, let's say you're in my country and your wealth is having a barn, or having a barn in your house and having a house. And you want to have a daughter so that you can marry her off with somebody that has the ability to give you and her that. Okay, no problem. However, if you do not have the money to provide for your daughter or your son to be able to get there, you will have to do a lot of karmic contracts or selling your soul to a lot of people to be able to get to a certain place. And those are energies you might not be able to handle. And I feel like that's what people do. Let's say in Africa, where they sell their daughters for and exchange, not sell, but they exchange their daughters for cows, and that is wealth to them. But they're not conscious enough to say, I have to take in consideration the feelings of my daughter, or I have to take into consideration, is my daughter going to be being well taken care of, and the world. Why? It's not because of their fault. It's because they're living in a different mindset. They're living in a different sphere of consciousness. They don't understand that the world is moving, and that they have not grown with the world. They've grown within their own society, but not with the world. Maybe in other worlds, or in the old world, how I like to say it, it was not just more acceptable, but it was okay, because number one, there weren't as much people in the planet back then. I want to say, let's say, I don't know, before slavery coming to the Americas, maybe there weren't as much people on the planet back then. So it was easier. There's different times, there's different eras, there's different energies coming about. And you have to take that into consideration. Do you see people in old tribes? If you look at the National Geographic Channel, or you see people going into other tribes, they have children, but they have children within the rhythm of nature. Okay, if you have just 1,000 children, just to have 1,000 children, and you're locking people down and having spiritual contracts with people, because that is essentially what you're doing. You're not just having a child, but you're spiritually connecting yourself with this other entity or with this other person when procreating. So now that person has the keys not only to your soul, but that person also has the keys or the ability to reincarnate with you in another life, and do with you as they please, to collect. Don't do that shit. You don't want to lock yourself down like that. You don't want to quote unquote trap yourself. It's a fucking trap. That's why it's called a trap. When you trap a man, or you want to trap a woman, you fucking trap yourself. Not only in this world, but also in your next life. When you're creating your life, you're creating your future. You're creating the future, not just in this life, but in the next life. And you have to understand that. If you consider yourself a light worker, or you consider yourself a star seed, which we are all star seeds because we come from above, then down. That's a whole nother fucking story. My battery is going low. understand that you're multi-dimensional, and you're creating yourself in many facets. And sometimes your consciousness is going to be conscious enough to actually live that dimension in what you're creating for yourself in your subconscious. So please be mindful of not procreating just to procreate. Be a parent all the time, and be careful all the time. Be loving all the time, and be righteous all the time, okay? It's important and it's imperative for the survival of humanity, so that we can be able to unite as a one race, as opposed to having the wrong definition of a race, which is different races. We're only one race. It's a fucking human race, okay? and it's now the time to recreate ourselves, or go back into the rhythm of nature, of natural laws, rules, and regulations. Of course, always using the power of alchemy and the choices that you have. So I hope that you understand this video, and I'll be moving along to the next video, and I will see you guys in the next video.